I was going to that Press, and I'm here with Aaron Phillips, who's coming off a win at Firepower 3. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. It's been 11 days since your fight. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I was not very sore after, so that's good. Nose wasn't broken. Got my stitches out, so we're all hunky dory, ready to go.
Awesome. I was going to ask you, did you have any injuries?
No, just some stitches in the eyebrow, like I think like 3 or 4, and then that was it. Just a swollen nose. But other than that, no, pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's always a positive. Always a positive. I was reading that leading into your fight with Trey Williams, that this was your first full fight camp and first fight as like part of an actual gym. Is that right?
Yeah. This is my first ever like going out there and cause since moving down to Houston, we I finally got into a gym like end of July, and wasn't very consistent with it at first just because moving and stuff. But like 3 months, 2 months into this fight camp was about the fight camp length for this, and it's my first one, and going into an actual fight with like an actual team behind me, and training with other partners and stuff. And to me, when I watch it, it really showed like the improvement from past fights, like because before, this guy, I think he's like a brown belt or something, and I've never like really studied jujitsu, traditional sense or anything, and I know things, but I didn't like know like what to do in those situations, and it would often cause me to like freeze up. But this one, I was like, he was hitting me with all this stuff that I was like, oh, I get putting this in practice all the time. Just don't panic, and got in some sticky situations. But I felt comfortable there, like as in like I'm gonna get out, I'll be all right, and it's just being in a gym just really made a world of a difference.
What gym did you train at?
I've been training at Gracie Barra Champions, and I was going to Gracie Barra Katie in Houston. I was in between those two gyms, and now it's like kind of like they gave me like 60 days off for the fight because of stitches or whatever, and so I'm just gonna take advantage of that and just go back into the gym every day, and really capitalize on more technique and just improve more.
Awesome, man. So, talking about that performance, what do you think about that performance?
I thought it was pretty good. On the feet, I think I was thinking about, him kind of clinching up too much, and I did land some good shots on the feet, and luckily he didn't land too much. He was throwing a lot, but he wasn't like landing too much or too hard, so that was pretty good. But he came out exactly how I expected him to. Just he was going to go out and he was just going to try to bull rush me, and I that's what I was like, all right, I'll be ready for it. And he was a bigger guy, so I just it did tire me out quite a bit, because he said he couldn't make it under 200. Then homeboy shows up at 198 after I offered him 195, and it was a mess. So, but I felt like he was about a good 215, 220 when I were fighting, and I was like, man, this guy's pretty heavy, and wore me out a bit. And but I mean, as far as like performances go, it was good. I felt like I was in good enough shape for it, and made up for like the shape I was in, made up for the weight difference a little bit. So I was able to last out the entire fight.
Awesome. Is there anything that you can take away from this performance?
Oh yeah. It's like I just pulled the trigger more, I think, on when I'm standing up. It felt like I just wasn't pulling the trigger, and I kind of felt it when I was in there. I was kind of hesitating, but I was like, man, they're right there, like the target's right there, and every time I throw, I'm landing. And I was kind of just hesitating, but that's just like, that's how I was just kind of like thinking about his power a little bit too much. I give his power a little too much credit, and I probably should have just went after it. But that's just, like hearing his credentials or whatever, 10 years fight experience or whatever, and me going off like 3, never had an amateur career. So like my amateur career was basically my first, 6, 7 pro fights. so to me, this is like my pro debut, and it felt really good. I feel like I went out there and performed really well and improved a lot. So I take away a lot from this.
Was there a reason why you didn't have an amateur career?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I pulled up, so I signed up for a fight, an undercard fight in the AFC Alaska Fighting Championships, and the promoter there, she takes care of us pretty good, but but none of us like really know better. If I would have known better at the time, I probably would have said no, but yeah, she offered it, like she's like, hey, pro fight, you guys can be on the main card, UFC Fight Pass. And me and this guy, for our first fights ever, we're just like, oh, we saw lights, and we're like, yeah, cool, we're gonna be so cool, Dana White's gonna see us, kind of shit, and so we ended up yeah, accepting that, and we both became pros, no amateur fights under our belt, and we're just a couple of wild men. And after that, it was I was just taking what I could get. That whoever they'd offer, I'd be like, oh sure, I'll fight. Or I'll fight this month if you need me. And then because I was flying out of a village, and it's really hard to get out of there. And I had to like, all right, I'll stay in shape for I'll fight every 2 months, 2-3 months, and and that's kind of how I rolled with them. And just took what I could get. The opponent could have been like, they could have been like, hey, we got this guy. And I'd be like, all right, cool. I got to fight. Awesome. And it could have been John Jones or something. That would have been bad. But, it was a good time. Can't regret it now because I was on TUF, and, I'm just seeing more and more improvement. So.
You snapped your 100% finish rate. How did that make you feel?
It's kind of a bummer, but unanimous decision is just as good. Because there was I was honestly I debated whether or not I should take this fight because he just, I don't know, this guy, he just didn't look. Mad respect to the guy for how tough he was. He just never stopped moving, never stopped coming forward, and made it a really tough fight for me. But I was like, hey, because I offered him 195, he said, nah. And I was like, well, if you're 1 red cent over 200, I'm not fighting, because I cut down to 185. I'm tired. I'm mad now, and I'm trying to like recover. And I thought both of us would be 185, and I'd be at least close to your weight when we fought. And he showed up at 198, didn't look tired, didn't look drained at all, and I thought he looked kind of soft, and I was like, oh, why couldn't he make 185 or at least get at least within 5 pounds, at least missed the weight closely. And he showed up, he looked kind of healthy, and got into the fight, and I was like, all right, now he looks where those muscles come from. And dude, he looked huge. And yeah, it was just one of those fights I wasn't going to take if he was over. And this is the weight advantage, it's cool. It's whatever. I took the fight. I got the ED. I can't be too mad about not getting a finish because, the weight advantage. But, I wish I would have got a finish. There was a point where I had full mount, and I debated. I was like, do I ground and pound this guy, or do I try to, I feel like I got the head and arm choke. And, I silly me went for that head and arm choke, and it wasn't there. We just slipped right out of that. And I was like, all right, I should have just stayed on top. I would have been less tired if I just stayed on top. And it turned it into a scramble, and we had a nice little slobber knocker.
So did you move to Houston?
Yeah. I moved down here almost immediately after the TUF show. I spent about another 2-3 weeks in Kotzebue. And then me and my girlfriend, we moved down to Houston permanently.
Damn. So you go from freezing cold Alaska to hot out Texas.
I don't know. I go outside for 2 seconds, I'm sweating, man. It was amazing. I had to even try to cut weight. And she was like, how am I not just walking around at 70 with all the sweat I have?
Yeah, no, that's wild. I did want to ask about Alaska just because I personally never been there. What was it what was it like living in Alaska, and the 24-hour darkness, 24-hour light, what's up with that?
It's interesting. It's definitely different. It throws people off for sure that are new to there. I'm from the North Alaska, above the Arctic Circle, Alaska, middle of nowhere. People don't go to my town unless they're working, they're not gonna go. People don't hardly just go there to visit. But it's definitely an adjustment. I feel like during the summer I'm not as active as far as I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, the too much sunlight, maybe. I don't know. But it maybe just the lack of air conditioning in houses, because we don't have that up there. We don't need it. Um, but I don't know, like summertime or like wintertime, people are like, you are, well, I guess I kind of stay in, but like I spend more time in the gym, because the only time I go out is if I'm going to a gym or something, or go to work out. And summertime, it's like, you're out, but you're not like really doing much. Just kind of enjoying the weather and the mosquitoes. And yeah, it's just different. It's definitely plays a little bit on the mental aspect of your brain, because you go from night all the time, not seeing anybody, you're just working out, and then summertime comes and it's sunlight almost all the time, and you're just like, man, let's just get crazy. You just kind of lose your mind a bit. Just get wild.
With the 24-hour daylight, I mean, so do you just put up shutters and kind of, is that what you do?
Yeah. You just find some good shutters, or and just keep them closed, or I mean, you just saves a lot on electricity, because you don't have to turn on the lights on. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people I know put tinfoil over their windows because it just blacks it all out, and that's but for me, I would just use that. I just always close the shades. I don't mind a little bit of sunlight coming through. It's like a night light.
That's wild. I did want to touch on the Ultimate Fire real quick. I just wanted to know a couple memories, or I guess a couple moments from TUF that weren't on camera.
There's one I haven't talked about yet. So this is pretty funny. I like to swim, right? And a couple of interviews ago, I think I told the guy that I learned how to swim on the show. Everybody in the house kind of chipped in, giving me advice, and started swimming every day. And there was one time I was swimming in there, and Ryder Newman and Brian Battle were, they're getting on their little they're doing nudie runs everywhere, and having a good time. And one time I jumped in the pool, and next thing I know, I see two giant naked dudes jumping in. And I was like, oh, and it was wild, man. They just chased me around the house, trying to wrestle me and stuff, trying to beat me up. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to wrestle with you guys while you're naked. I mean, you guys, I could handle the spandex. I just can't. I don't know if I could handle like that thing flopping around everywhere.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That was a pretty funny one. There's a lot more that I could probably dig up, but just can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But there's a lot of funny stuff that they didn't show.
So Brian Battle and Trayshawn Gore are finally matched up again in February. Who do you think wins that fight?
I mean, it's gonna be a good fight. I've been waiting for this fight since they told me that, like, they've tried fighting before the TUF House, that fell through. And then they didn't get to fight in the TUF House, which it's just the Battle of the Carolinas here, and I just can't, man. I can't wait. It's gonna be. I honestly think if Brian, if he just sticks him and moves, I just don't think Trayshawn's gonna be able to have an answer for it. He's got a lot of power, and he'll land a few, but Brian's tough, and he's always game to, if you want to get him in a scrap, he'll sit there and throw with you. But I mean, he has a really good, like, he's just endurance through a whole fight. He just keeps the pace up. He's always kind of there, and he has that long reach. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to give it to Brian for sure.
And then, what's next for you, man? Like, what do you want your 2022 to look like?
I want to be pretty active, now that I'm going to enjoy this holiday season, like, I'm just here, like, now I'm just kind of enjoying the holiday seasons for the first time in a long time. And then the 2022, I'm just really get after it. If I have to do another regional fight, sure, I'll do it, but maybe do the promotions in Texas, or, somewhere closer by. So I don't have to go as far from home to fight. But I mean, I'm open for anything, really. The higher, like, in a couple months, I mean, like, I don't know where I'm going to be, but I know I'm going to be a lot better than I am now. So it's just going to be a lot of work. And 2022 I just want to be really active, and, try to get into a bigger promotion, UFC preferably.
Man, awesome. Yeah, there's, Fury FC is out there in Texas, and that's a very big promotion out there on UFC Fight Pass. Is that a promotion that you would like to showcase for?
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump into it. Yeah, there's no reason why I wouldn't. You know, it's a my home state now, so yeah, it'd just seem it's easy access, and I don't have to go far to do it. You know, I can just leave the house and go fight.
Awesome. Awesome, Aaron. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I'm excited for the future, and looking forward to you fighting in 2022. If you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, the floor is yours.
All right. So everybody watching, so tune in to my Instagram, Aaron Phillips MMA. And you can also follow me on Twitter, A Phillips MMA. And I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Stamina Pro, Game Face. There's like 10 more enhanced CBD. There's like 10 more. I'll throw them in there on a tag or something.
Awesome, man. Yeah.